Previously on Katawa Shoujo. Now, come on Hisao, I've got to make sure your heart's not going to explode or something. You should stay here for a few hours and rest. We'll see how you feel after that. I'm not going to object, so I lie down on the infirmary bed. I can try and help you to keep your health, but ultimately, the last call lies with you. Hopefully, this little episode will be something that'll remind you of that. So, as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also, come Sunday, please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds.
Games and fried food!
Wait, isn't she? Yep, that's her.
Hello. You two know each other?
I look confusedly at Emmy. She's that friend of yours?
Feel free to eat with us next time too, okay? I won't make you a lunch, but you can bring your own up here.
Dang, that was actually going to be my next question. What's up people, we are back with more of Katawa Shoujo. Snow and ice once again prevailed over the opening of schools, I guess. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is I have another snow ice day off, so more Katawa Shoujo is just what we're gonna do. That's how I'm gonna spend the day. Just, you know, sure I have assignments to do, sure I have work to do, but I can play some Katawa Shoujo as well. So let us continue. The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan for something to do after school, so I head to the library to return a couple of the books I finished reading. Walking inside, I see that there are about as many students here as there were on Tuesday, all the more evident from the almost total silence enveloping the room. As I drop the books I'd borrowed into the return slots on the counter, Yuko suddenly pops out from behind it, quite startled from the banging they make as they hit the trolley next to her. Sorry Yuko, I didn't mean to startle you.
No, that's fine. It happens a lot. I'm used to it by now.
Can I help you? It's okay. I think I know where everything is. Thanks anyway. I suppose I'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do, and after reading so much during my stay in the hospital, it's become a hard habit to break. I wander down to the fiction section towards the back of the library, scanning the bookshelves for anything that catches my eye. As I do, I look over to the corner where Hanako had been the last time I was here, not really expecting anything to come of it. But surprisingly, though, she's there, completely absorbed in a fairly thick book. I decide against intruding on her like last time and get back to finding reading material. Oh no. Poor Hanako, I don't know why. I just, it's not like I pity her every time I see her, but it's just like every time you see a little lamb or a little sheep, right? You just go like, aww. You want to pet it, but you don't want to scare it away either. After an indiscernible amount of time spent pursuing the aisles, I finally decide on a couple of books to get and slide them off the shelf. With a minimum of fuss, I quickly walk over to the counter, check out my books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remain, but the majority have left, presumably to their homes and dorms. Feeling utterly drained, I head to my room and read the books I borrowed. There's been enough action and excitement for one day already. The first is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Oh, a classic. I know the story, of course, but I've never actually read the original book. It's just as trippy as I remember the story to be, with the wacky characters and nonsense plot. I start thinking of myself as some kind of an Alice too, haplessly tumbling down the rabbit hole into this cripple wonderland. Cripple wonderland! Oh my god. Okay, that's a rather strong expression. Still, the isolated location and the overt way the school accommodates to absolutely everything is unsettling. It is like another world. I wonder why I can't shake the feeling of being an outsider like Alice, despite most everyone being so hospitable and friendly with me. Turning another page, my mind starts drifting further away from the book. It's quiet. I can hear my heartbeat thumping against the fabric of my shirt. For some reason, it makes me feel really bad, like it has since that time in the forest with Iwanako. Like I was locked in a cage with something nasty and scary. Gotta take our medicine? I put the book down for a while and stare at the ceiling, taking my time to shake off the feeling. 200 pages later, I fall asleep. Dang, this guy read 200 pages in a night? It was probably less than a night. Bum, bum, bum. The students roll into class for the Saturday morning session. What? Class on Saturday? Does that actually really happen? What? Each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people who have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes until the lunch break, and then our time is our own. Muto lurches into the class in a tired stagger. I suppose students aren't the only one here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawls some paper and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. It's just like, it's another Saturday, Muto always gets drunk on Friday, that's party night. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the ruffling papers. That can partly be attributed to the 2 empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present, probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or she is making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed about thinking about Misha that I don't even notice Muto approaching my desk. Sure. What's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. This sounds serious. What the hell? Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out into the hallway. Muto stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he is trying to say. Not knowing what's going on, I wait silently. I heard from the school's head nurse that you had an incident the other day. Wasn't that on the freaking note? Like, what do you mean you had... That was on the freaking note that we handed him from the school nurse, right? So it's about that. Well, kind of. But it's not anything to be worried about. Yes it is. Anything that can endanger your health is something to be worried about. We try our best to prepare you for your life here. Part of that involves knowing your limits and how to work around them. It would be remiss of me if I didn't speak up about this. Alright, I get it. I'm sorry. Muto closes his eyes in frustration and realizes that this probably wasn't the best thing to say. Something tells me that you're not sorry. Pretend as much as you want, but this isn't a normal school. A lot of people have put a lot of time, effort, and money to make sure that you and every other student here can have the same level of education as your peers. For you to abuse that by throwing out advice, especially medical advice, is plain selfish. I'm not quite sure if this is actually how he feels, or if this is some sort of act that he's practiced many times to guilt trip students into doing the right thing. Either way, it's working. I understand. This is all new to me, and I apologize. I know my limits now, and I'll be sticking to them. That's the thing though, right? You gotta seek out your limits and actually go over your limits before you have found them, right? Otherwise you don't know what your limits are. I mean, sure, it is a dangerous thing for us to sort of try and find our limit with our hard illness, I guess, but still, to find your limit, you kind of have to exceed it. Muto appears to lighten up a little, satisfied that his message has been received. So, then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a little while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Muto taps his chin and raises an eyebrow when he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there who realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you've got to keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world, and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing but to the lay person, but any of them could be the key to the next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. That's such a vague statement. What does he mean by the next big thing? It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over, and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think, in hindsight, that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I guess that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief at that suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Muto pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me. And then he goes like, I like it. I'm gonna be the boss from now on. Everyone, call me the boss. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend they are working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Muto doesn't even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to the nearest silence that Muto and I left it in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. Ding dong. The clock on the wall slowly ticks the remaining class time away until finally the bells cry out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. And here we thought we got away with doing nothing during class. The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind and try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend, with the festival and all tomorrow. Oh, Hanako. Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at at least nominally hard for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Dang, it seems like that one choice that we made with Hanako, where we sort of, instead of like trying to slowly approach her, we kind of went with a more straightforward approach, and that's just not how you approach her, or not the right way to approach her. And it seems like just that one choice alone has completely cut off all possible ways that we could interact and communicate with her, because now we're acting really distant from her. Even though this is like the third opportunity now that we could possibly talk with her. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either, so an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels so much longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil lead splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sounds of my irritated sigh and subsequent fumbling around for a sharpener feels like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Oh no, we're breaking the silence. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Her name is all that it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. Wow, she was actually smiling. Did you see that? Hanako was smiling. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. What was that? I thought Hanako was going to go with Lily. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes, she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hands, staring at the desk, dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. Or she was just at the end of the previous book when we caught her, and she's now starting a new book, therefore it looks like she actually read a book and a half or something, even though she only read like 2 chapters. Could be that too. After about 10 minutes of restlessly shuffling in her seat and trying to read, Hanako closes her book and leaves too. As should I, since the assignment is all but finished and there is nothing else to do in the classroom. Not that I have anything to do anywhere else either. Aww. Poor Hisao. The school is a beehive of activity, but nobody pays me any heed. I saunter past classrooms filled with students frantically doing this and that, buzzing around like little worker bees. Buzz, buzz, buzz. You wouldn't guess the school day is over. It's a bit quieter outside, but not by much. People zip by, left and right, hurrying as quickly as they can, busy and energetic. I feel the opposite. The midday sun seems to be draining all the spirit out of my body, making it feel limp all over. Soft, warm air flows inside my shirt, feeling like a cushion. I yawn lazily, thinking about what I do. I'll drop off my books at the dorm first. And then something I haven't decided yet. Maybe Kenji is in his room. Oh, bad choice, man. On the way to the dorms, I spot Emmy coming my way, running despite not having those weird running prosthetics on. I wave at her as she skids to a stop. Yo, Hisao! Spatters of white and green paint adorn her nose and chin respectively, but her smile is wide, as it seems it always is. She leans closer to me, amplifying the feeling she is examining me. What you doing? Nothing, really. I don't have anything to do for the festival, and everyone else seems to be doing something important.
That's perfect. Then you can help me and Rin.
With the festival preparations? I'm not sure if I would be of much help.
That's fine. I'm not much help either.
Emmy grabs my wrists and starts dragging me back inside the school quite forcefully. Even her walking speed is more like jogging, making me stumble over myself, simply trying to keep up. The stairs slow Emmy down a little bit. Maybe it's hard to climb with her legs, or maybe she's finally run out of breath. We go all the way back to the 3rd floor, and to the seniors' hallway, ending up where I left 5 minutes ago. I could just as well have stayed here, waiting for Emmy, had I known. So, is Rin working on that mural still?
That's right. She needs all kinds of paint and brushes and stuff, so I went to get them from the art classroom.
And you need me to help you with that.
Well, Rin told me you had already helped her, so I thought you wouldn't mind.
I see. So thanks to Emmy's flaky logic, here I am again, collecting stuff from the art classroom for other people. The room is empty, apart from ourselves and the lonely specks of dust floating in the air. Emmy skips straight away to the back wall, digging out a tiny, crumpled piece of paper from her pocket. While she tries to make sense of the scrawled handwriting, I take a closer look at the materials lying around. Oh, now I've gotten such a weird idea. Does Rin actually write with her feet as well? That would be even more impressive. Like that girl, I wouldn't even be surprised. Like if we were to take the Rin route, for example, she would probably just, if we were to spend just one day of her, like a day in the life of Rin, right? She would blow our minds just like a million times straight over. With like, how the hell are you able to do that without arms? Dozens of paint cans and bottles are arranged on the shelves in a more unorganized fashion, or most. Some look like they have been left there for several decades, relics of previous art club generations. Next to the heavy stacks of neatly piled drawing paper are boxes full of different sized brushes and unsorted crayons. The smell of paint, turpentine, and fresh paper float in the stale air, mixing in my nostrils to form that unmistakable scent of art. Emmy studies her notes, comparing them to markings on the various paint cans, and passes them to me as she finds the correct matches. She stretches her neck to look on the topmost shelf, but it's not quite enough. Her eye level stays below the shelf no matter what she does. Emmy gives up and just looks up to the shelf longingly, like a child at a toy store, huffing in annoyance. Aww. Can we lift her up, or is that like exerting ourselves physically too much? We can always grab her a chair, I guess. After a moment of building anger, she starts jumping up and down, apparently trying to speed read the labels during the fraction of a second she can see them and catch what she can. It's no surprise that she fails miserably and almost manages to bring the entire shelf crashing down. Now I see why me lending a hand here would be useful. Come on, let me do that. You can't jump high enough, and I don't want you to hurt yourself trying. Also, I'm like twice your height.
You are not.
She turns around, flaring scorn, flushed cheeks and all. Just kidding, just kidding. Anyway, I'll look up there, okay? She glares at me one more time, but can't come up with a retort. With a grudging turns her back to me. So I begin scrounging around the top shelf for paint, while below, Emmy crouches to scavenge what she can from the cupboards. I shake my head a little, after double checking to ensure she can't see me do it. Emmy, having a complex about her height, was a surprise. I wouldn't have joked about it otherwise. She seems easygoing, but I guess everyone has their weak spots. Only after we have almost all the items collected and spread out on a desk like a treasure hunter's spoils do I realize that it wasn't necessarily the hijab that got her riled up. She might not like to be told what she can't or that she can't do something, like jump. But Emmy herself seems to have forgotten all about it already. Quick to anger and quick to forgive. Is she that type of person? At least she doesn't seem to have taken anything to heart as she chatters away, happily while we pick up the rest of the items and then make our way back to Rin. I chivalrously carry the bulk of the materials as we make our way towards the dormitories. I gotta say, this is actually pretty scary to see all those like white shadows as people of the crowd. Oh god.
Rin is really stressed about getting her painting done. It's her own fault though. She should have started earlier.
Is she going to make it?
No idea. It looks good to me. But with Rin, you never know what's going on. I found her this morning, lying in front of the dorm in fetal position. She hadn't slept all night. I can't believe that the night nurses hadn't found her. And now, she's painting again like crazy.
Yeah, I've noticed that she comes off as kinda unhinged, so to speak. Emmy giggles at that, as well as at my likely too obvious awkwardness.
I don't mind it. She's just a little weird sometimes.
On that, I can agree with her. Unlike me, Emmy seems to be cool with Rin's whatever it is that feels so off about her. Still, they don't feel close like Misha and Shizune do. With them working as a single entity sometimes, it's hard to say where one ends and the other begins. Even though they're so different, just like Emmy and Rin are. And Rin is the most different of them all. Different from anyone else I've ever met. Yeah, I guess she's a very unique person. I return to that word again, as if it encompasses Rin's personality by itself. But really, it's just a substitute for a lengthy description of her oddities. Emmy giggles as I grasp about for a properly descriptive word.
She's just weird. You know, earlier, she just spent half an hour sitting on her box and stared at her toes.
She's like willing her toes to do or to encompass the power to finish the painting the way she wants it to in her head. She giggles again in a way that makes me think she doesn't know what's funny about it. It just is.
All that time.
The working area is a mess, but the mural itself has taken over even more of the wall since I last saw it. The disfigured human figures have been mostly colored in tones of red, pink, and orange. Weird. Imaginary. Things populating the space between us. It looks nice. I can't think of any other word that would describe the work concisely and comprehensively, so I settle myself on a non-descriptive nice. But honestly, it seems that the area around the wall becomes untidier at the same rate as the mural progresses. The ground is littered with dozens of paint cans, various art supplies, and empty soda bottles. Rin herself is in the center of this chaos, standing there, looking very cozy, as if she was a natural part of the scene. Her pant leg have been rolled up to her knees, exposing her thin legs, which sport a drying spectrum of war paintings, similar to those on Emmy's face. Emmy sprints to Rin ahead of me, and gleefully jumps in front of her.
I'm back! That was fast. Did you run in the corridors again? Hisao helped me.
Emmy points victoriously at me. Rin turns around, following Emmy's finger with her eyes, looking at my general direction. She nods absent-mindedly at me. She looks like she hasn't slept since last night. A vacant, glazed stare that's focused slightly off me and movements like in a slow-motion movie. Hello, Hisao. Thank you for the help. Don't mention it. I just did. Never mind. Looks like you've made a lot of progress. Looking good as far as I can tell. Did we just jinx it again? Yep. But now you get more bad luck. I know, but I'm willing to take the risk. That's a very nice thing to say. For me, of course, not for you. This is why artists are always unlucky. They have to constantly look at their unfinished paintings. So artists can't find romance. Their favorite TV shows are cancelled, or they die young because of an unspecified disease. It's a deep and mysterious law of the universe. Wow. Did she really say that? Unless they are blind. She considers this for a while, looking like she's going to fall asleep. That's gotta be the ramblings of a person that hasn't slept in the last 24 hours for sure. Probably longer than 24 hours even. There's a boy at the art club. You see? Blind boy. So he doesn't. See? You already told me. I glance sideways at Emmy, and she glances back in a way that tells me she has heard this once before too. Neither of us say anything to Rin, though, so she continues her monotone soliloquy like an unfunny stand-up comedian. He should become an artist. No bad luck. Guaranteed. Don't you think that would be a good idea? That only blind people should become artists? No, not as such. You might have a point. Abandoning this train of thought, she turns again to consider her work and starts humming a tune that I think I recognize but can't remember the name of. Emmy arranges the supplies we bought and moves a few paint cans around, trying to bring some organization to the scene. Emmy, I need the Prussian blue paint. Oh my god. Did she really say Prussian blue? This brings me back to the time of the glorious Bob Ross streams. I know it's still on like every single Monday, but when the whole marathon was on, yeah, I watched that so freaking much, and for some reason it was so calming, peaceful, and entertaining at the same time. It was glorious, man. I watched the entire freaking time. Or at least I had it on the entire time. Which one's Prussian blue? She is staring helplessly at 7 or 8 cans, each with a different tone of blue. It's the one with Prussian blue paint in it. Jeez, Rin, you're not helping at all. I look around as well. Even though I don't know what Prussian blue looks like either, I wonder what blue has to do with Prussia. Or what Prussia even is. Isn't that the older name of Russia? It was Russia with I think part of the other countries near that area. I'm not entirely sure. My history is like not that great, history knowledge. The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't place it. While some of the blues look more Prussian than the others, the small print on the labels is legible enough to determine that none say anything about the contents of being Prussian. There is no Prussian blue here. We need to go get more then. I open my mouth to say that actually, we're not both needed for such a simple task, like finding another pot of Prussian blue, but Emmy's already grabbed my arm and started dragging me off. I wave to Rin, who doesn't seem to have noticed that the two of us are even leaving. Well, she'll notice when she goes for a Prussian blue and finds out it's still not there. Maybe. Maybe not? Probably not, actually. Alright, we're gonna end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!